Yes, sir.
Okay, now last time we have studied about this experiment, right? Experiment of Hawthorne studies. Remember?
Okay, okay, sir. In last class, I was absent, sir.
You were absent. Okay, let me give you an overview of last lecture, right? Last lecture we have studied about the Hawthorne studies. This is an experiment which is conducted by Elton Mao, an electrical company of Hawthorne industry, where he conducted this research. The main purpose of to know about the human behavior, or when they are satisfied and when they are dissatisfied, and whether the productivity increased by participating by contribution of the employees, or whether it decreased, in which level the productivity increase and which level the productivity decrease. Actually, that is the main theme of the Hawthorne study that he conducted. He conducted different researches, right? And that's electrical company. So the first research was which was he conducted an experiment on illumination. Illumination effect was the that study where the Elton Mao conducted for the sake of to know, to want to evaluate whether there is an effect of illumination of lighting. Illumination means lighting. You know lighting? Mate, you know what lighting?
Yes, sir. I
Yeah,
know, like,
yeah, he wants to know, the researcher wanted to know that whether the lighting can affect the performance of employees or not. Now, the researcher was conducting this research in there, and after continuously studying, this research was in phase number one from 19, the year from 19, from 1924 to 1927. This research took place. So during this tenure, during this time, he realized that the final conclusion of that there is no any sort of positive effect on employee performance by increasing and decreasing of lighting illumination within a working. Now, what was the effect then? The researcher came to know in this phase that there was something effect, something else will affect. What was something else? Something else was what? That is the observation of the supervisors and observation of the other researchers, that as they observed so employees differently, they worked under the tough circumstances, under the very rigid rules and regulations, but still they were work because just for sake of they realize that there's someone is watching them, and that's why they work hard. They didn't care about any lighting, they didn't care about anything. They just care about their work, whether there's a light or not, but they are concentrating on their work. Just because of what? Just because of that someone is watching them. Just for sake of that someone is watching them. So that's why they work hard, and they try to put their their energy in their work rather than thinking about any lighting. They believe that their belief was that we have to deliver best because of what? Because someone is watching you. For example, if your father comes to your room and sitting on the chair and watching you, so definitely you will work hard because of what? Because your father is sitting inside your home and he is watching you. That's why you work hard. Now that was the concept of experiment of illumination. Now second phase, the second experiment where the researcher from this first experiment concluded that lighting does not have an effect. What is affecting? That is something else. That something else is what? That is observation of someone. When someone observed you, So, and you know about that, that someone is observing me, definitely you will be motivated, and you will be work with a full of enthusiastic, full of energy. That was phase number one, experiment number one. And later on in experiment number two, uh, we talked about that relay assembly test room. Relay assembly test room where a small, and that because that company was electrical company, and a relay assembly test room was a room where a small electrical parts will be collected together and put it on one place, because that's very light work. That was very light work, and the work these activities were done by females. That's why in here they conducted another research. They said that okay, let's take take a research on these females, uh, do the experiment on these females. Now, in this experiment, researcher test the hypothesis that production would, like as we in here, that experiment, researchers test the hypothesis that production would be higher if incentive was improved, work week becomes shorter with the rest and lunch period. Now, as as in here, in this experiment, as we discussed last previous week, we discussed about that the hypothesis, the assumption, the perception, the idea was that as the incentive, if we increase the incentive, if we increase the working hours, relaxation hours, if we give the bonuses to our employees, so ultimately it will affect on employee productivity. So for this purpose, the researchers set a relay research. For this purpose, the researchers set up relay assembly test room, and two experienced workers were chosen. They select two workers, and again, and they let them to select the randomly uh, their co-workers. Once they selected, so the experiment between two groups, one those groups who were under the experiment, and those groups that are not under the experiment. Now, one when they have taken the group of the girls of six and put the experiment on them, so this experiment were lasting from 1927 to 1928. You know, 1 year, 1 and 2 year gave. This research was done. Now, what happened that during this phase, during this phase, the researcher is trying to give a relaxation, trying to give relaxation, free time, lunch, proper lunch to the girls, a loss of bonuses, incentive, and they believe if they work hard and they will be rewarded, they'll give, give a lot of incentive on their working performance. So a lot of things, a lot of facilities were given to the girls. So ultimately, what happened that after some time, when they realized and they observe completely something else will occur. What they saw that the productivity directly increased. The productivity directly increased. Before, how how productivity increased? By providing a lot of facilities. When employees believe that they have less working time, and they have relaxation in their working hours, and their the food is the food is given by the organization, and the lunch was given by organization, the snack food, and a lot of tea, a lot of facilities were given during the working hours. So definitely employee become more motivated, and they were trying to exert their full of energy. Now, so what happened that when employees they saw a lot of facilities, ultimately employees become self-motivated, and they work hard to accelerate their performance, and ultimately employee productivity increase, and as well as when the productivity increase, and plus the performance of organization will also increase, and the profitability also increase. Now that was what was the aim. So ultimately what happened that later on the researchers decided, okay, fine, we provide a lot of facilities to these girls, and ultimately the result was positive. The positive means everything will go up. So productivity increase, profitability increase, and we gain a lot of much profit only just providing a small facilities, a small incentive bonuses to our employees, to our These go. So it's increased. Okay, let's go reverse. Go for reverse research. Reverse research means negatively, like go. Like when we go forward, then we go reverse. Now, in reverse means we decrease these all things. We will not provide facilities, we will not provide relaxation time, we will not provide any further, any incentive, any bonuses. Now, when a researcher deduct all these facilities, they deduct incentives, they deduct bonuses, they deduct a relaxation time, they deduct lunch period time, they deduct early going home. So deduct every facility which they provided, all those girls, they deduct everything. After deducting, so definitely when they observed that those were reaction, they reacted and they showed their negligence, negative attitude, neglect. They showed their negative attitude toward the researcher that why have you done with this strategy. And when a researcher observed that this action, the reverse of action goes negative, so it went negatively affect and employee productivity decrease, performance decrease, and ultimately dissatisfaction will occur in here. Absenteeism will increase. So now researcher come up with the conclusion that if we provide facilities, if we provide basic facilities, if we provide incentives, relaxation, relaxation in working hours, relaxation and providing food benefits, so ultimately we increase. So ultimately we increase employees' motivation, and plus employees will be self-motivated too. So it will affect on organization performance and as well as on the productivity. So in here, the researchers conclude, okay, facilities are another concern of increasing employees' productivity. That was the second phase of research. That was the second phase of research. Second phase, the second phase of research where they believe the facilities were where the assumption was that whether the whether the incentive bonuses can increase the productivity and performance of employees. Now, what was the conclusion of that? This assumption was true that yes, if we provide facilities, if we provide facilities regarding their working hours, regarding their food, regarding their incentives, bonuses, if we provide all these facilities or make them flexible, so ultimately, ultimately, performance will increase. Now in here, they keep this logic yourself. Still, still they believe, okay, because it's not ended here. It's move on to third phase. Move on to the third phase. They wanted to know. Let's move on to the third phase. And the third phase was mass interview program. Now, in a mass interview program, as we discussed in phase number one, the researchers wanted to know that is there lighting effect on employee performance. What is the assumption was? Assumption was wrong. That no, lighting cannot affect the performance of any employees. What will affect? That is the observation or observation of somebody who observed that will affect on employee performance. In the second phase, we said that the researchers said that whether the facilities, incentive, bonuses, the increment will affect employee performance, the assumption was true. Yes, if you provide facilities, if you provide all the basic facilities to your employees, definitely performance will increase, the productivity will be increased, employee will be self-motivated. Now in phase number three, as we started in here in this lecture, that was phase number one and two was the previous lecture, and we discussed about that last previous week. So now we will talk about the phase number three. In phase number three, mass interview program. What is the objective of mass interview program? Because the researcher want to have some information here, want to gain something from this too. Now the assumption was what? The program, this objective. The objective of this experiment is to find out. What is that? To find out. Find out. To find out means to bring digging out, to find out, to search for the employee's attitude. Now see, employees' attitudes towards supervisors, company, wages, facilities, promotions, and more. Now see, the researchers wanted to know, to find out the employees' attitudes. What sort of attitudes employees keep with yourself, for their supervisors, for their companies, for their wages, for their facilities, for their promotions, for their moral. For example, for supervisors, maybe if I ask you a question, where you work, I said, okay, uh, are you satisfied are you satisfied with your supervisor? What will be the answer? Yes, yeah, no. Are you satisfied with your company? Yes, yeah, no. Are you happy with your wages that you receive, that you get from the company? Yes, yeah, no. Is the all the facilities are good? Yes or no? Uh, do they give promotions within the organization? Yes or no? Moral. So are you morally, you know, uh, supporting organization? Yes, yeah, no. Now at the beginning, what happened? These are the researchers wanted to know. The researchers wanted to know employees' attitude. Employees' attitude, whether they are positive attitude, whether they have a positive attitude towards their employees, towards their supervisors, company, wages, facility, promotion, or negative. So what sort of attitudes employees carrying with yourself inside the organization? They just wanted to know this. Now, what happened that? Now, now this can be from this research is took place in 1928 up to 1930. Is within a 2 or 3 years this research was concluded. Now, this can be done by mass interview program. How to analyze these facilities? Now, how to analyze? How to analyze whether your employees having positive attitude towards supervisors or negative? Whether your employees having negative attitude or positive attitude toward company. Similar with the wages, with the facility, with promotion morally. Now, at the beginning, what happened? This was done. This the mass interview was done by the mass interview was done by interview groups program. Now, by interview the program, the employees with the help of direct and indirect questioning. Now, at the beginning, what happened? The researchers tried to do that. These interviews were conducted by the means of direct, then after indirect questions, and the major finding of mass interview program are. Now, what happened that? Now, at the beginning, interviewer, the interviewer were asking questions from the employees, direct questions. Direct question means your answer will be yes, yeah, no. Like for example, are you satisfied with supervisor? Yes, yeah, no. Simply answer yes or no. Now, like whether the company provide facilities? Yes, yeah, no. Yes, yeah, no. It's only the answer. Direct question is a strategy where you aim is to the interviewer should answer in a yes or no. That's it. That you want to that you want from participants that they should answer the question in yes or no. That's it, not more than this. Now, completely shocking result comes out because direct questions direct questions cannot bring the a lot of answers, because yes or no cannot give the inner feelings of the they cannot out the inner feelings of employees, because employees have something else they want to say. They cannot share all information with yes or no. Only one question cannot judge. For example, are you satisfied with the supervisor? Yes, yeah, no. If yes, why? If no, why? So now then they can share the full of information. Then they can share their inner core of inner information with you. Unless and until if there is no WH question, so they cannot explain that. We want explanation. We want explanation. At the beginning, when the research was conducted, that they used to ask direct question. Direct question were not the solution. Not that they didn't direct question didn't bring any sort of information which they can take any decision on it. Now they conduct indirect question. Indirect question means they start talking with the employees. And when an interviewer asking questions like, do you satisfied with your supervisor? Yes. Okay. Yes. Why? Now, the supervisor, the interviewer put another question. And why? The reason. They wanted to know the reason. Now, then, then what happened? Supervisor were kept silent. That interviewer were kept silent, and the participants were speaking, and talking for longer time, and elaborating is yes, yeah, no. If yes, why? Now he's elaborating and why he said yes. Why? He giving the a lots of reasons for that. Now the interviewer noting down all those reasons. Similarly, Similarly, now they started with the indirect question with all employees. The question was regarding supervisor, the question was regarding company, the question was regarding wages, the question was regarding facilities, and the question was regarding promotion and morale. Now, what are the findings of that? The finding were that workers is satisfied or dissatisfied, not in terms of any object form of reference. Okay, the findings are, is it that the workers is satisfied or dissatisfied, not in the term of any objective form of reference, but rather in terms of how he regards his social status and what has he is entitled to receive by way of reward. From here, what is that? That we are thinking about that worker is satisfied or dissatisfied. So it is up to the worker that whether he is satisfied or dissatisfied. But the satisfaction.
थोड़ा सदों से जगह से निकला सही नाम है यार
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
شو المشكلة؟
يا كمان كنت المشكلة يا كمان كنت من جوشكي جغاس ميكون أصلا ماشي المشكلة جات نزديك بها يا شور ميخرا ماشي مستر يا قام جانا ميفهمين
أي سايشن؟
فمون أكسر سايشن أنا
خلاص ما جوشكي نزل في منطقة براي راستس
خلاص يا كمان يا قام جغاسك
أي سايشن؟
سايس سايس
Okay, fine. This mass interview program, actually the objective was to find out the employee's attitude towards supervisor, company, wages, facilities, promotion, morale. Now, the researchers wanted to know that the employees who are working within this organization, how their attitudes are toward the supervisor. Attitude means their behavior. How their behavior was toward supervisor, company, wages, facilities, promotion. Whether the attitude was positive or negative. Now, how to know? How they get to know about that? That they conducted an interview. An interview, they were asking direct question and as well as indirect question. At the beginning, they start asking questions, direct questions. Like indirect questions, they simply ask questions that are you satisfied with your supervisor? Yes or no. Now, similarly, they ask from many employees same questions while they are interviewing. Only yes or no, that's it. But later on, they came to know that yes or no question will not satisfy their inner feelings. They didn't get any satisfactory answers. They want something else. They want something else means they want more information from employees. Now, how more information will be given by employees? By they decided let's get let's get toward indirect question. Indirect question, they start asking for every question when they ask that are you satisfied with your supervisor? If the employee said yes, they will directly ask another question, why? Now in why, differently, the employees will start giving reasons for why. That why I'm satisfied with my supervisor and why I'm not satisfied with my supervisor. Now in here, they gain a lots of information, a lots of reasons regarding their behavior toward supervisors, toward company, toward wage, toward facilities, toward promotions. They gain a lots of information and they came to know the findings, the interview, the finding of this interview. They said, the researchers said, what the researchers said, that workers is satisfied or dissatisfied, not in terms of any object of the reference, but rather than in terms of how he regards his social status and what fees he is entitled to receive by way of rewards. Now see, what the researchers is trying to say. The researcher is trying to say that employees' satisfaction and dissatisfaction is based on the is not based on their self-objective. It's based on the treatment, based on the dealing with him. How? Based on dealing, how of the people, how the supervisors deal with them, how the organization behave with them, how whether they are providing reward or not. Like if supervisor is handling, has supervisor is having power, right? If he utilize has power positively, so ultimately employee will be satisfied. If supervisor utilize his power negatively, so definitely employee will dissatisfied. Company, if a company provide relaxed, flexible environment, employee feels satisfied. If employees, so if the company did not provide flexible environment of working, employee will not satisfied. Similarly, wages. If employee, if employee, if employees was given a proper wages, on-time wages, so employees will feel glad and they work hard. Similarly, facilities. If they provide facilities, if they have been provided facilities, employee will feel glad. If the facilities were not there, so employee will be dissatisfied. Similarly, promotion. If they given promotion, so they will be satisfied. If there is no promotion, they will be not satisfied. So from here, it is based on, from this paragraph, from below paragraph, as I highlighted, that it is based on their satisfaction and dissatisfaction and based on other people. The other people means the people who are observing them, the people who are making policies, the people who are making rules and regulations. They are them. They are just because of them. Whatever they behave, whatever they treat, similarly what comes out. It means that whatever you treat, how you deal with your employees, similar the outcomes you will get from your employees. If you deal positive, the outcome will be positive. If you deal negative, the outcome will be negative. If you deal with a full of enthusiastic, with a full of happiness with your employees, employee will feel motivated and they will be self-motivated and they will work for longer and longer time. It is up to you. Now in here, the researcher is trying to indicate, pointing out that it is based on the organization, how organization deal its employees. If organization deal employees with a positive, with a valuable manner, ultimately employee will be satisfied. If they didn't, if they didn't deal them with a positive and a valuable manner, so definitely there will be dissatisfaction. So satisfaction and dissatisfaction of employee is not on the basis of their self-objective. It is based on the other treatment, other social status they utilize against them. Finding we have now in non-directive interview, the interviewer pretend that whatever information they get from the workers were treated unconfidential. They trained to listen and more to talk less, and they're offering advice to respect the arguments. As we talked about that the finding number one was that it's based on the organization itself. Now, second, that we say that the interview which is conducted with the employees, that's that was assured. They assured the employees that whatever they said that should be confidential. They will not be leaked out with any authoritarian person. Now, overall, the research, the overall research of this, overall, and this research, mass interview, is based on the satisfaction of dissatisfaction employees is based on employee social status, how they use their social status, the employer social status, employer power, how they utilize their power, whether they're using their power accurately or not, is based on their power. Now, how they utilize their power, that matter a lot, and that lead employees toward satisfaction or dissatisfaction. Now see, as I said, the complaints generally involve employees' social position in the group, their work. Now, from the mass interview program, it was discovered that employees' behavior was being influenced by group behavior. The result was not very satisfactory, and researchers decided to conduct another experiment. Now, as in this research, the researchers concluded that employees' behavior affected by the other members, from the group. That who are in the group? In group, you have the all the power, all the authoritarian people who are influencer are the people who having power, those who can influence. Everyone cannot influence on you, everyone cannot affect on your performance. Those can affect on performance, those who have power. Now, authoritarian people, they have power, that's why they influence on you. So in this and mass interview, we get to know that you get to know that employees' behavior can be affected by the group of the people of their power, of their making rules and regulations, of the making policies from top management. Whatever the members who are having power, if they influence them positively, employee will be satisfied. And if they influence their power negatively, employee will be dissatisfied. Now, the fourth the fourth phase, bank wiring observation. Okay, now listen once again. At first, we studied about illumination effect, then we say relay assembly test, the third mass interview, and the fourth bank wiring observation. At first, we discussed that illumination cannot affect the employee performance. There is something else cannot affect the employee performance. What is something else? Something else is what is something else? Something else is that is observation of authoritarian. The second phase we discussed about relay assembly test. Relay assembly test, we say that if we provide facilities to our employees, ultimately the performance will increase positively. Now, in the third, we said that our behavior can be affected by the rules and regulation, by making rules and regulation of top management. Those, the employees' behavior will be affected by the employer, by the group of employers. How? If the employer wants that their employees should react positively, so they should act positively. Definitely, the employees should react positively. If they act negatively, and employees will react negatively. It's based on their, but it's not based on their employees. It's self-objective. Not their like and dislike, their satisfaction and dissatisfaction is not based on their self-objective, but their satisfaction is based on their top management treating, how they deal them. Now, in the fourth phase, bank wiring observation room. Now, the main objective of this study is to find out exact information about informal group in a plant and what are the factors or causes which influence output. Now, see the objective of this research. We needed a lot of information here. Now, the main objective of this study is to find out exact information about informal groups in a plant. What are the factors that causes which influence output? Now what's that? Look, for this research, to finding out the exact information of informal groups, those groups which is established by themselves. Like for example, if you are working within your organization, so sometime in break, 3-5 people, they come together and sit in one place. So this is a 3-4-5% group they have formed, they have established by their mutual concern. Now what is that? The group of 3 kinds of workers. Now in here, the researchers has tried to do a group of 3 kinds of workers who were engaged in a bank wiring room, where wireman, look, where wireman was there, soldier man, inspector, who together constitute a group of 14, 9 wiremen, 3 soldier, and 2 inspector. So they made a group of 14, where 9 wiremen were there, 3 soldiers were there, and 2 inspectors were there. The work involves step-by-step fixing and switch for central office equipment. And the work involves step-by-step fixing the switches. Actually, this was the main, this was the, to fixing out the switches. That, and here in this group, the payment was, now in here, the main concerns will come out. The payment was based on group performance, one thing, and it would assume that for this reason, they would help each other to produce more. Now, the researchers is tried to put a group of 14 person. Within a 14 people, now he put 9 person wireman, 3 soldier, and 2 inspector in this. Now, actually, the aim was of this group was to fix the equipments of switchboard, where you plug and play, plug and play, like switching on off buttons, or this putting all these things in one switchboard. But what the researcher assumed, that the researcher put that he put it the condition. What is the condition? They put the condition that this group, you guys will be paid, but the payment will be on the basis of your performance. The payment will be on the basis of your performance. Now in here, researcher was assuming that. What was the assumption? The assumption was that I provide them a condition that the payment will be on the basis of performance. Now in here, they assume of what? That now these 14 people, they were helping each other for the sake of to bring a better performance. That was the assumption. That's why they put the assumption condition, the performance condition, on the basis of group performance. So if group perform well, so they will be rewarded. No single person will be allocated. No single person will be rewarded. Like for example, if we have 14 people, if 3, like for example, this is done by this group, this job is done by 5 people. So it's not, so the payment will not be provided to the 5 people. So it will be provided for all group members. That was the condition, that the performance will be, they will be treated on the basis of your performance. After 1 minute, the meeting will be disconnected. So please rejoin with the same meeting ID. Now the assumption was payment based on performance, and another assumption that now they will work together and help each other. So that was the assumption of a researcher. So what comes out the assumption? Now see, but worker decided the target for themselves, which was lower the plant target, and the workers give following reasons for respected output. Now see, what was the company assumption? The performance assumption. Whatever the performance, whatever the standard of performance